Welcome to today's episode of the Sewing Circle. Today we're going to be working on making a pair of pajama pants using McCall's 3019 pajama pant pattern. I picked out this UFO flannel fabric for my son-in-law, and I'm going to be making him pajamas with pockets and cuffs at the bottom as per his request. I make these for him every Christmas, so he knows he's going to get them. He just doesn't know what color I picked this year. This is a pocket pattern that I got for free online. I'll link it down below. If I had to do it again, I would have cut this pocket bigger. Now, starting out, the first step is to sew the front and back inner thigh seam right sides together. You can see I've accomplished that here. The back panel is bigger than the front panel, and that's why there's a pucker. Next, we're going to do that to the other front and back so that we have both pieces done. And now I'm showing you, this is where we will be placing our pockets, one on each side. We will sew them in, and I will zigzag the edge of the pocket. Once the pocket's in place, then I can sew around the pocket and down the pajamas. I'll show you that in a minute. Here I'm showing you how I'm placing the pockets. Again, this is a front and back that's been seamed in the side seam, inside seam, and this is the outside seam that we're putting these on. I'm sorry you can't see it very clearly. It was really dark in the sewing trailer tonight, and I felt like I should have spread it out somewhere else so you could see better. Now, here I am just telling you to make sure to do it twice. You have a front and a back, and a front and a back. Now here we're sewing from the top of the pocket area. We're going to sew the pants together, and then as you approach the edge of that pocket, you're going to put your needle down and actually pivot and sew around the pocket. This is how we end up with our opening into the pants. I've gone ahead and serged around that pocket edge and down the seam. And now we are ready to turn one pant leg inside out and one right side out. Once they're right side out and inside out, we're actually going to make a pajama sandwich, a pant leg sandwich. We're going to put the one pant leg inside the other pant leg, like this. And this is going to line up the crotch. So what you see me hooking together here, that's the back and that's the front. And this is the crotch that would run between your legs. We're going to sew it, and then I like to seam the curve twice and serge it, because this is the place where a pair of pajamas or pants gets the most stress. Next, we're going to go ahead and press a 1/4 inch around that waistband area. And then using my handy dandy ruler, I am going to fold it down 1.5 inches and clip it into place. And you can see here that I have the little slider set at 1.5 inches. This makes it really nice for measuring a waistband or a hem that you want to be really precise with. Once these are measured all the way around, I clip them and sew it from the top edge and the bottom edge. And I didn't get that videoed for you. Then I feed elastic through to fit his 33-inch waist. And then I'm going to pull it together, line it up, and seam it tightly so that everything lays flat inside of that seam. Then we'll go back and we'll go ahead and sew it right along that stitching line and completely connect both stitching lines to close that elastic inside the casing securely. Now he did want to have cuffs, so here is the cuff fabric. This is a rib knit, and I cut it 10 by 10, and I am going to seam the one side together as shown here. I'm showing you that one cuff has been made. We're going to go ahead and seam that one raw edge together. And then once that is done, we'll lay it flat and press that seam open with our hands. And then you fold that seam in on itself, and this creates the cuff for the bottom of the pants. I will use clippies to divide that cuff into 4 pieces so that I can then divide it onto the pant leg in 4 pieces and stretch it to fit the pant evenly. So here I'm just showing you that we're clipping right that seam together. That'll go on the inside cuff of the pant, and then another one straight across, and then I'm going to go ahead and eyeball a divide of both of the other sides so that we have 4 sections of the cuff. Once that's done, I stick that down inside of a pant leg and connect it to the 4 places. Now I did iron a little crease, and you can barely see it here, but I ironed a crease in the pant so that you can see the 4 areas are the 2 seams and then the 2 pressed areas, and we line that all up nicely. It will fit perfectly and stretch to fit. Here you can see I'm making sure that those seams are very lined up so it looks nice and tidy. And then I find that crease that I pressed, or that other seam. There's that other seam, and then see the creases that I pressed. And we're lining it all up. And you can use a marker if you don't want to press it, but that just works well for me to iron the crease in. It makes it very visible. And then once you have those all clipped in, you're going to stretch the knit to fit the pant as you seam around it, and then serge it. And here you can see that's how we do it. People tell me that they want to learn how to sew. And how did I learn how to sew, and all the things that I've done with sewing. And I want to tell you and encourage you that sewing begins when you start sewing. You learn as you go. You learn from your mistakes. This is your number one friend. Believe it or not, this and an iron. Because this means that you can take apart what you did, any mistakes you can correct. I will be seam ripping open these pockets so that I can sew them, the insides of them a little less. I did a really deep seam allowance, and they're small pockets now. So I'm going to open them when I'm done here. But that doesn't mean that there's a failure. Failure is when you put it aside and you don't finish it. You learn how to sew by trying new things every time you sew. When I became a Mennonite, I was 25 years old, and I knew how to sew a little bit, but I very quickly had to learn how to sew for my entire family. At the time, I had myself, my husband, and I had 5 of my 12 kids. And my first things were not perfect. They weren't, they weren't to the quality that I wanted. But the idea was that I was learning as I went, and I eventually became a very good seamstress. I eventually learned how to do things, and I still make mistakes. I still make things that look wonky, that aren't to the style that I want. The other thing I would encourage you in is to use a high quality thread, high quality fabrics. But as you're starting out, go ahead and use that Walmart fabric and to try things. Go ahead and do a mock-up. It doesn't hurt to try things, But if you want things if you're going to make something that you really want to have a very nice quality, then quality fabrics is where it's at. Quality threads. So that's my tip. Just start sewing. If it's pajama pants, it's pajama pants. You don't have to put cuffs in your pajama pants. These could have just been turned under twice. It's just that my son-in-law, he likes his cuffs, and I'm going to make them how he likes them. So I encourage you, if you want to try to make a pair of pajama pants, that you just try. They may not be perfect. You might not even hem the bottom, but you will have made them. You'll make something that you can wear. You may not put pockets in it. You might just sew those side seams down. But you will make pants that you can wear, and that's the beginning, right? Okay, I have them all finished. I'm just going to put a tag in them and go ahead and open those pockets a little bit bigger, that pocket seam. But I wanted to show you, these are the finished pajamas. You see they're nice. The nice cuffs that are in the bottom for him, and they do have pockets, nice pockets. Gonna be snazzy. His UFO Christmas pajama pants are almost done. Thanks for watching. I hope that you'll try to make some pajama pants this